Come on. Okay, let's do a chain link first, dude. All right, we'll do a series of forge welds. The first one will be just taking a bar and folding it back on itself. A faggot weld is what this is called. And this is 3/16 by 1. So if you want to blend this bar in, which you wouldn't always want to, I mean, you could either take it and like if you wanted to create a boss, and you would take an equal amount, cut it using the edge of the anvil or a cutter, and then fold it over. And you could leave the end flat. I'm going to bevel it because I would want to blend it in. So the first thing I'll do is take the hammer and bevel the end of that bar at like a 45. And then use a sharp part of the anvil, either here or the back end. I'll probably use that right there. And use it to cut it, and then fold it back, put it in the flux, and bring it up to welding temp. And so you take it out here. All right, opposite, right? I'm going to fold it this way, so I don't want to put the cut here. I want to put the cut there on the opposite side. Be sure not to cut all the way through. You can see that. You can sprinkle the flux on, or you can just... The main thing is to make sure that flux gets down in that crevice. I always like to turn this over as well without abrading it too much or rubbing against the coal too much, because you don't want to rub all that flux off. That flux lowers the welding temperature, and it also helps prevent oxidation. So I usually go to when I see sparks, a few little sparks, I take it out and weld it. And that's just a piece, and I mean, you could continue to fold that bar back on itself and weld it and do that. Now, what I'll do just to test how good that weld is, I'll go ahead and come down on that. So as you can see, that did not come apart. It raised a little bit here, but that's all right. But as far as the actual weld there, it did not split apart, so that's good. Here's another version of the same type of weld. Like if you were going to make a fireplace poker, that's 1/2 inch square. So what I'll do is draw that out to a point first, and then sort of make an approximate measure of what I'm going to need to fold it back on itself to make the actual point on the poker, and then the little like S curve that comes back where if you like poke a log and then you could drag it back to you and move them around a little bit. About like that. The next one, well, actually the next, this, I'll break down the corners. Now that's ready to cut and bend back. Move this, I'm going to need this. That. Get your flux down in that crack there. And this is important. I'll walk through it real quick, but don't forge from just one side. As you forge weld this, you need to turn it over. Otherwise, this thickness gets too thin and the forge weld looks weird. So make sure that you forge from both sides. That flux will make things slip a little bit. Okay, I'll brush it off and you can see what we have so far. I'm going to give it another heat and point it a little bit more and break the corners down. After that, I'm going to stand it up in the vise this way and take a chisel and pull this out a little bit so I can form it. It doesn't hurt it either to flux it one more time. It's all right. You can flux it multiples. Main thing you don't want to do is beat on that thing while it's cold, because the more you beat on it cold or try to form it cold, the more chance you have for it to split apart. So I always work it at sort of a welding heat up until I really got it to the shape that I want, like that. So we're breaking the corners down. Okay. That part is done. Now I can bring it here on the next heat. Take it, put this in here, and bend it back. I'm not going to do it right now. I want to give it some heat first. This doesn't need to be done at a welding heat. I'll brush it off again. Said I'm just so about like that. And you don't need a real heavy hammer for this either. I set the welds with my 4.5 pound cross peen. Now this, I'm going to try to localize the heat a little bit on this one because I don't want to bend this part when I want to bend this tip back. So I'm going to try to just poke out that little tip in the fire there and heat that up. And you want to make sure that you've got it straight in the center of the bar as well. So like that, make sure it's even. Get it even this way. And you've got your fire poker tip in there. That's another way to use that weld where you just fold it back on itself.